So when you go out of body, where do you go? I was thinking about this the other day. I've been going out for so many years now and have gone out so many hundreds, if not thousands of times. It occurred to me there must be this cluster of conceptual ideas that I often visit. And it's true. The fundamental place that I go when I'm going out of body is into my own greater self, into my own guidance system. So you could envision this as though hovering face up over a large ocean and then slowly being lowered down into the waters. And upon the connecting or the merging of yourself with the waters, having access to that whole larger environment. And this is what happens when I go out of body. I go into this larger space, this larger environment, what I call my own greater self, sometimes my galactic self. But when it's just my own greater self, I have access to a larger territory and just naturally find myself being and a few types of locations again and again and again. One of the largest of these is galactic space. I find myself in galactic space. This could be on board crafts, and often it is on board crafts. Often in these experiences, I am on the table. These are exam type experiences. But also when I'm there, I'm also being taught. So I will be sat down and be given displays in which I'm studying the extraterrestrial types of eyes, different extraterrestrial type of craft, things like this that have to do with anatomy, language, and transportation generally. So yeah, galactic space is one of the largest places I land. Another one is future probabilities. So I like to go into what I call the potentiality field. There really are only three types of field: the potentiality field itself, the blueprint fields, which is where everything is created and designed and architectured, and then the actuality fields, what we call reality or reality fields, that manifest worlds in which we have bodies and visual environments to experience ourselves in. But I like going into the potentiality field, and in the potentiality field, I can access probabilities. So I go into future probabilities of myself in this life and myself in other incarnations as well, which leads me into the next environment I often shift into, and that is my own other incarnations. So other manifestations, other lifetimes my soul is living in the earth life and on other planets and other types of bodies. All of this is very common. The fourth place that I go most often is into my own biological system. And this is fascinating, endlessly fascinating. I often retain awareness and bring back the full data of the fact that I was in this type of experience. However, not often do I bring back a lot of the data, the communication that I learned, the ability to phrase what just happened in words so that I can share it. Mostly what I bring back from these experiences is that I was traversing an area of my own biological system, what that area is, and the OBE itself will play out in a way that I can conceptualize. For instance, one time I traveled into my own hippocampus area of my brain, and there's a mythological being that's associated with the hippocampus called, you guessed it, a hippocampus. And it's and I didn't even know this actually at the time of having this experience. I had to do a little search on it when I got back. But it's a reptilian fish horse conglomeration of being that lives in the water, in the oceans. Fascinating, just fascinating. And I experienced it more from this conceptual standpoint. So I'm in the ocean literally, physically. Okay, this is, I go into consensus fields a lot. Mostly what I go into are the consensus fields. So these are very physicalized fields. Even when they're not 3D, if they're 4D or 5D, they're still very physicalized. And I'm in the ocean, and the waters are really kicking up because this creature is about to surface in the waters right in front of me, and I can feel it. Although I'm scared because I'm in the middle of the ocean and something is rising up from beneath me. Just this feeling of awe is coming on. It's coming on and a lot more forward than my fear at the moment. I'm always knowing in these experiences that I'm not going to be given more than what I can handle. And so I do my breathing and calm myself down, and this creature begins rising right in front of me, and it's massive. It's submarine size. It's huge. And I'm able to see the flesh, the skin of the creature, and it is just mesmerizing. It is so many different colors in the scheme of deep blue, and some greens and pinks and other colors in there, but mostly in the scheme of dark blue, that I can't resist. I reach out my hand to touch just this massive neck area of the creature, and as soon as I connected in this way, there was a full merging of myself with this being, with my own hippocampus. And these experiences are almost too much for me to describe. They're just phenomenal. You enter into states of experience that take place along the bliss spectrum, and in these spectrums there are no words. There's only pure feeling, pure experience. Very powerful, very potent. You know something has happened when you come back from them. I may be rambling, but this is one example of what I do when I shift into my own biological structure. Often there's work being done, corrections being made. I'm being taken as my person into scenarios, environments in which certain situations are playing out that led to the, I'll say, atrophy of those particular parts of my system. Or even whole systems within my whole biological structure, whatever they may be. And in the experience in the OBE, I will be self-correcting my own thoughts, energies, and behaviors, interactions with that which is before me and happening while this is happening. And so I'm participating in the healing, in the correction, by consciously, physically being taken into these spaces and let to work these things out in this way, in this inner way. I'm able to hold synchronous states, and so I'm able to be in multiple fields simultaneously. So when I'm in these fields that I'm more able to conceptualize, understand, cognize, I'm also simultaneously inside my own biological structure, usually with a guidance, someone or other that is explaining to me what is happening, what is taking place. I'm having questions. I'm having those questions answered. Again, a lot of this is not the content that I often get to bring back with me, but I am opening to this. I'm noticing more now that uh, bringing back conceptual data is so much easier than communication, conversations, dialogues. That seems to be what I have the hardest time, and what most of us seem to have the hardest time bringing back with us. We can bring back bits, but certainly not the bulk of what it is the bulk of what got asked and answered, let's say. So I'm going to be working on this. This is going to be a main focus of mine here going forward into 2020. We'll see what happens with this. Okay, so I'm going to end this one right here. Those are the areas that I go into, the environments I go into when I go out. Where do you go most when you go out?